There's a beer out there called Optimus Prime. I would kill somebody to have been able to have that beer for that.
Oh my god. Hey everybody, I'm Nesto of Blank Sugar Gamers, and I'm here with Rob of Fantasy Banjo. We're gonna be doing an interview today where we're just gonna get into what he does, who he is, where he's going, what games he's playing, and just all the fun of that. So, Rob.
Yes, Nesto.
What do you do? Who are you? Who is Rob from Fantasy Banjo?
So I am America's sweetheart from Fantasy
Yes.
Banjo.
Can confirm.
Fantasy Banjo. Quick rundown, group of me and close buddies doing all new media venture things we can think of. I'd take care of most of the streaming stuff, hence the green screen.
Okay.
But we also get together every once in a while and play D&D campaigns together. Tony and I have done another venture within thereof called Bytes N Brews, where we play video games and pair beers with the video games.
Okay.
We basically do anything we can possibly think of to scratch that creative itch. Right now, during COVID, it's pretty much just me streaming and never seeing my friends anymore.
So how did you get into like video game culture, like video games? How did you get into like everything about video games?
I feel like I got into video games the same way a lot of people did, by not being social.
What's up? I'm Doug.
Or good in social settings.
Yeah.
So I obviously I remember having the first video game memory I can have is that old school like black and gray NES with that gloss gold Zelda cartridge.
Oh yeah.
Popping that shit in there.
We can play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System.
But I was an only kid. I still am an only kid. So I got I was a spoiled son of a. I got everything I wanted growing up. I got all the consoles and all that.
Was it? Yeah, you can say. That's
okay.
Fine. Okay. Was it a top loader or front loader for the NES?
It was top? No, front. It's
front.
I don't know. You know the terms better than me. It loaded in through like the top, and then you like clicked it down.
Okay, so yeah, that's the front loader. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like a top straight down. It was like the in and then like click down. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then what was next? Did you?
I think next was the PlayStation. I had a Sega Genesis.
Okay.
I had a Sega Genesis. I had a PlayStation, and I remember getting those demo discs from like Pizza Hut with Tomb Raider and on it. That was so much fun. Yeah. Dreamcast.
Okay.
Dreamcast was one of the sleeper ones, dude. I feel like a lot of people slept on that. But a memory card that also kind of sort of plays games. You can't put anything wrong with that.
Right.
I had Game Boy, never the Color Edition. Wait, did I have a Game Boy Color? I don't think I did. I don't think I ever did.
Okay.
I had that camera.
Oh yeah.
Game Boy camera.
My God. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, dude. Everything after that, Super NES, N64. I was a diehard Xbox fanboy for a long time, and then that new console war kind of came to a head, and the phrase DRM came out of Microsoft's mouth.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't like it.
And I was like, see ya.
Psych.
So I jumped ship to PlayStation and never looked back.
Okay, cool.
And then I bought a PC, and I became an adult, and I got a PC, and then I never looked back to consoles again. Sorry. Sorry.
It's in the past. Yeah. All right, nice.
If it's available on PC and other consoles, I'm buying PC 100% of the time.
Cool. So you had like a nice progression throughout the systems.
Yeah, all the staples were there. The Final Fantasies were all there. The Resident Evils were there. The Tomb Raiders. The staples of most of everyone of our generation's childhood was there.
So I have a question. So you talked about Fantasy Banjo doing like D&D and the role playing stuff. How did you get into that? Like transitioning from video games to D&D and role playing?
So that was a rougher transition. I was always very much in the boat of like that being that nerd line that I was never going to cross.
No! Okay.
And then the person, our DM for the games that we've been doing as a group as Fantasy Banjo, is Patrick, the goddamn DM. Yeah. I've known the guy since 3rd grade. So at one point in time we lived together. and he started hosting games, or he had been hosting games. We moved in together, and then he started hosting games in our garage. I think probably initially I went in there and told them to shut the up because they were being too loud, and then eventually I just kind of like, after a couple of those of just sitting there and like, there were my friends that were playing already, so it was just kind of like they would order pizza or the D&D staples.
Peace time.
And I'd show up for the pizza and be like, "You guys are f***ing nerds," and I'm just kind of like watch for a couple of seconds, and then anyone that's been playing D&D knows that there's not that big of a jump between playing something like Baldur's Gate and playing a tabletop game. So it just, after one night, I think, of hey, do you want to create a character? That was kind of that was that first hit. And after that I have huge, like, bags upon bags of math rocks that make the clicky clackies and make me happy.
Math rocks. Nice. Okay, so I got a question. Question. How long did it take you to make your first character? Because I remember mine took me forever, and we didn't even get to the game.
Yeah, pretty much the first 2 sessions have to be character creation.
Right.
That's why it takes me forever. That's why I'm putting off Baldur's Gate for as long as I have. I know it's in early access right now, and B, that's why it always takes me forever to play any wrestling game ever.
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, okay. Oh my God. Okay. I can see the similarities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a solid week of character creation, and that's just like what they look like and how they operate.
You, buddy, what's your name? Stan.
That's not like getting into their heads and like thinking about the kind of decisions that they would make.
Right. That's a whole other.
That's a whole extra level and a whole extra like month on top.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if you're going to be method acting and doing voices and.
Oh yeah, definitely, exactly. Okay.
And then you make some dumbass roll and you die in the first couple of sessions.
Or you're literally rolling just for the same thing for like hours.
All right, before we do anything, I'm gonna roll to seduce the dragon. Ha! Natural 20.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know about that. Cool. So you were just like.
So it's Patrick's fault, really.
Yeah.
Let's learn a little bit more about the game. Here's the Dungeon Master himself.
It's about dicks.
How did you guys take the jump from like, okay, I'm playing this stuff, I'm having fun with this stuff, to I want to make content about this stuff?
So I think that was more of like a almost like a stranglehold on the group, because we had been playing campaigns and having just stupid amounts of fun.
Okay.
And we're content creators at heart, so we thought, why not slap a camera in front of this and show other people how hilarious we are.
Okay.
And it turned out to be way more work than it was worth to make fun. We initially tried the video format of it. So what we'll refer to as like season 0 of Almost Heroic was video format on YouTube.
Okay.
And it took forever. We had to find a space to do it that was quiet and wasn't like reverberating everything we said.
Oh wow.
We had to set up lights and cameras, and we had to set timers to stop the cameras at the right time to make sure they didn't stop recording, and we had to make sure the mics were all set and there was no crosstalk and we were all facing and in frame, and it was a hot mess. One of the people dropped off almost immediately after that season was done, and it was very short-lived. And then we thought, maybe we should just do the audio part of this. And that was really, really good, and we liked it a lot. And it was easier to like get the content on tape, essentially, like recorded and done and processed. And it was one less element that we had to worry about. For us, we could like roll out of bed and look like crap and come in the morning and just be ready to play.
Robert, why is there all these lights in my apartment?
We're recording today.
Hey!
But also, if you're editing audio, you're also not editing video and timing video together with it. I think we had 2 cameras as well, too.
Oh, that's. Ooh. So
we had to like figure out the fact that we needed one of those like clacks. So season 0 was a lot of learning.
Yeah. Okay.
The podcast format started off with a little bit of learning, but the learning curve is a lot easier on just an audio format.
Okay.
And then as that progressed, eventually it wasn't enough to just record it. We wanted to trim silence and put in sound effects and enhance it as much as we possibly could. And we got it to like what we felt was a really good state. And then for some reason we decided to f with it and we moved it to a Twitch format.
Okay.
The main reason for that was it was killing our editor, Tony.
Oh, okay.
So
Tony was editing a lot of
Tony
stuff.
was editing a lot, everything. And he was spending hours and hours a week on the back end editing things to try and get up weekly recordings of things. And, with a day job that you have to be at to make money and survive, it's hard to sink in like another 10, 12, 16 hours a week to get this other thing done after you already spent the time recording the audio.
Yeah.
So we went to a Twitch format so we wouldn't have to format anything, and we could get more like instant gratification from fans and viewers and things like that. And some of it worked out, but I think I was the only one that was really into it because I was already like ingrained into Twitch. It worked for me. I don't think it really worked for a lot of the rest of the people. So if we do wind up doing another season, we are going to go back to an audio format.
I feel like that's a big thing with content creation, especially when you're just starting out. You have a lot of like, I want to try this, I want to try that. But then once you try it, you realize there's so much of a hassle. Do I have time? Does this work? Does this look weird?
Does it translate well? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's
this content translator lend itself well to this medium?
Exactly, yeah, because like you were saying, you work well with the audio, but then you add video or you do something like live or something, and then it just makes everything all wacky.
And you're like, wow, I make stupid faces all the time.
I don't even hear what you're saying right now because your face is driving me nuts.
Yep.
I'd like to do that, please. You get down on D&D?
So it's hard to find a group of people. Like that's the biggest thing with D&D. It's so hard. We had to start a business in order to get everyone to show up on time and continue to show up to hang out with their friends. Right. To be honest, I've never actually played, but I've seen friends play it all the time. Because that's a big thing is that I realize with D&D, you have to create the whole structure before you even start. So that takes time. It's basically you're writing a game and then you have to get everyone together to basically play test the game.
I'm gonna open the door, all right? So you reach your hand towards the door by using Fireball. What? I'll also like to knock out every guard I see. Okay, wait. I am gonna turn into a bear. Why? Why would you do that? Yes, I totally got this. It's so okay, guys. Somehow we are a team.
And so it's fun.
And they will break it immediately. Don't ever trust them.
Let's change the channel.
So how did the Bytes N Brew thing started? Because that's actually how I met you guys. So
yeah. So
how'd that
go? Tony and I had a very traditional love story. We met at a LAN center, Landspeed Games. Rest in peace, Landspeed.
Okay. Oh my God, this is a love story.
We would spend, it was when we were younger, so we would spend all times, like basically do all the day job stuff, and then we would stay at Landspeed until like 5 in the morning. 4 in the morning, playing video games, playing Han and Dota. That was also around the time of me being in a local metal band. And so everyone from Landspeed came out and hung out with us all the time, went to the shows, did the after parties, all that stuff. That's how Tony and I first initially started hanging out. And then the band, as most local bands do, dissolve pretty quickly.
Left the band!
And I was just kind of hanging out with all this like pent up creative stuff. It was just around the time that the PlayStation what was the one for the PS4?
It was like a video camera?
It was, it wasn't the one that was like tracking the glowing balls, but it was like the stick. I was just about, I had done like maybe 1 or 2 like tests of just like there's a stream button on this PlayStation controller. Is it going to focus at all? There's a Bytes N Brews.
Oh, that's
your
sick.
Official Bytes N Brews controller. So I just decided to start doing it just to see what it was like. And I don't think anybody joined into it at all. And I probably didn't post it anywhere or know what I was doing at all, but it was really, really fun.
Yeah.
And
so what time was this around? Like what year?
That was probably around 2015, 14-ish.
Okay, yeah.
And Tony came around like that perfect time, found me on Facebook again and was like, hey, like, oh, I know what it was. Tony was doing a video or a trailer. He had just put out a trailer for this movie, and he was doing a fundraiser for it, and it might have been a GoFundMe. I don't remember what it was. Sorry, Tony. You know, I'm the forgetful one.
It's all good.
We'll fight about that later. And, you know, I had put into it, and then something went horribly south with it, and then he had this thing that he was going to do, and that fell through, and he's like, well, I'm still doing something, it. And he reached out to me, and he's like, hey, what do you think about streaming? And I was like, well, I actually just kind of started doing something with it, but I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay.
Tony went to film school. He's got this background knowledge and prowess in like media presence and production. So he came over, we did a little test stream. People seemed to like it. And then we decided like, all right, like we're going to do something with this. And we went to the drawing board with like names and like what we wanted to do. Tony's an alcoholic, so we had to pair alcohol into whatever we were doing somehow.
Yeah.
It's 9 a.m. And you know, it's one of those things that like I'm saying this on like a video that people are gonna watch and like it's some sort of secret, but like there's not really a whole lot of people out there that are doing like pairing alcohol and video games consistently.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a nice little, you know, little niche market thing. We thought we were clever and cheeky, so we named it Bytes N Brews, like video game bites and brews like booze.
You can taste the Necronomicon in there.
Yeah, makes sense.
So now, at that point, Tony was spending hours and hours, as was I, into what new games are out this week or this month, and what beers can we pair with them strictly based on name alone.
Okay.
So we got to know the people at Total Wine really, really well, and we got to know our beers really, really, really well.
Okay.
Before that, I'd say we both probably hated beer on like a rough standpoint.
Oh wow.
Both
Okay.
spirit people. And whiskey drinkers. So beer was very much like but you the things we do for love and our content, we started drinking, and I started realizing very quickly that I hate IPAs.
Ooh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Eventually we got to the point where we started almost running out of options, and we had to start looking at other markets and seeing if we could get more beers to us. Sometimes we'd find the perfect name for something and then couldn't get our hands on it because it wouldn't be imported or something. We played a Transformers game, and there's a beer out there called Optimus Prime. I would kill somebody to have been able to have that beer for them.
Oh my god.
Worst beer I've ever had in my life, hands down. Is like by a company that I love, Rogue Brewing. I love you. Don't ever make that Sriracha Stout ever again, dude. Oh my god, that's bad.
I don't know, man. I'm into it.
We played it for Super Hot. So basically, the premise of Bytes N Brews was thematically pairing a beer with a game. So we played Super Hot. And based on the name alone, we paired it with a hot stout, a Sriracha Stout. And there's plenty of videos out there of us drinking them and like basically throwing up right after. I think I described it as proteiny. It tastes like there was fermented buffalo wings in the beer, and I hate it.
Oh, that sounds awful. Sounds awful, dude. That sounds awful.
So we spent a lot of money on beer, a lot of money on games, and really only played a lot of those games for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
We started trying to do guests, and it's kind of hard as like two dudes in an apartment to like reach out to any kind of influencer at that time, because we were doing it in person, to say, hey, do you want to come over to this weird ass apartment and like drink with us in the middle of the day at 9 o'clock in the morning and film some content? It was hands down the most fun I've ever done the most fun content I've ever produced in my entire life. And I'll never stop pestering Tony to start doing it again.
Honestly, like when you guys came, like, cause I met you guys in a bar. I forgot
you
what
do. With Tony. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And I remember Tony coming up to me in the bar and just being like, hey, I make this YouTube content. I'm from Bytes N Brews. I was like, oh, cool. That's an interesting concept because I've never heard that. Like no one really ever like you said, no one's ever done that. They've gotten drunk on like videos and streams.
Right. Then that guy's just an alcoholic.
Playing games. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Which is why Tony can't do that. You can't do this without me, Tony. You need me.
The one thing I love about the Bytes N Brews content is you can see the back and forth between you guys. You can see that you actually care about this stuff and you actually care about you're having fun. And I will say that my favorite video you guys ever made was the one time where Tony was doing VR, the one where you saw puzzles and bombs, and he
I expect you to die.
Yeah,
when he was doing the speed run of him.
Yeah,
4 levels,
4 levels,
5 beers,
5 beers,
and
6 minutes. What's the
in under 10 minutes?
Yep. And go.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up. Somewhere in my history of Google Photos, I have right after we stopped filming that, and he was throwing up in my bathroom. Somewhere in there, it's somewhere, and there's a gem in there somewhere. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
A horrible idea, and it was his idea.
Yeah. Oh, explain it.
But we actually wound up getting a little care package from Shell Games, the people that made that game. Yeah. And I still have those pens at my desk. They're like nice looking like red pens that say "I expect you to die" on them.
Oh, that's sick.
And we have coasters around the house too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those guys are really, really cool. They actually have a new level out that we haven't played yet, so maybe you can
new
talk
content
into doing that.
Yeah,
maybe.
Tony,
add him on Twitter at Tony Pizza 333.
Get on it. We need another one. We need a sequel. Yeah. What do you find it's different? Let's say because you have the content where you're you and Tony, right?
Right.
As opposed to a group. I always find it's kind of hard. There's struggles with a group versus as you get bigger, it becomes harder to do things as opposed to just one idea. You're oh, I'm the guy who just does the idea.
So absolutely start whatever group you want with any of your friends ever. Where I would advise caution on is the legal paperwork side of stuff.
Okay.
Really talk to everyone that you're wanting to get involved to find out their level of commitment, what they want to do, what they have time to do. You'll run into, I'm sure you'll run into things where people genuinely want to be able to do things, but their schedules just don't allow it.
Yep, 100%.
We actually are starting to restructure Fantasy Banjo because we've got different levels of commitment and involvement, essentially. Okay. So we have some people that are willing and able and ready to give everything they've got, and then we've got other people whose schedules don't line up, or hey, I don't want to do all of the others. I don't want to manage social media. I don't want to do scheduled other things. I just want to show up, play, and have fun with my friends, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out what we're going through right now is figuring out a structure for what that looks like. And you have to hit certain parts in order to have an actual stake in the LLC.
Yeah.
It's something that it would behoove you to structure it in advance, but it also doesn't always seem like you're going to need it until you do. The best advice I've ever had from anybody anywhere, and it doesn't really have to do with the legality or structure of LLCs or companies or anything like that, was actually from Mega64.
Okay.
An interview that I saw with them, and they said, whatever content you're sitting on right now, do it. Don't wait. Everyone always wants to wait or fine-tune things or wait until you have something to do. Just do it. Just make it. Do it, get it out there, because as soon as that's done, you can move on to the next project that you're wanting to do that's been sitting there, and it's not going to get done or any better, or nothing's going to happen with it until you actually are able to focus your attention on it. Yeah. Get whatever is in there in your wheelhouse, in your head, just get it out. Get it out on paper, get it out on video, do whatever you got to do to get it out there and move on to whatever the next thing is.
I totally agree with that. I feel like that's the hardest thing to swallow, I guess, is just that you just have to send content out there. You want to be just perfect, make everything just crystal clean, but it sometimes it won't go out. You'll never get it out if you keep kind of constantly refining it. And that's how you actually refine your process of creating content, is just sending it out, finding what works and what doesn't. You just got to figure out what needs to be done to make it work. And that's always like, there's no blueprint. Everyone's different. You just got to
and you're not going to know a lot of those mistakes until you get out there and make them. Like
exactly.
You can plan as much as you want on paper, and then you're going to set everything up and you're like, all right, I didn't buy a camera. Like there's always going to be something that you forgot. You have to learn from your mistakes and not care that you make them, because that's how you learn. There's very important lessons in some of those tabletop games out there where you don't get experience if you win. You get experience from failing, because that's how you learn.
So I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna give everyone that I interview these 2 questions.
Who is your daddy? And what does he do?
Had a tumor.
No?
That's the second level question.
Okay.
Next interview. Okay. So what's a game you can pick up and play anytime? Like
Destiny.
Destiny.
You don't have to finish. You don't have to finish that
I know
sentence.
this. I know
Destiny.
Destiny.
I just can't.
It's crack. They've created crack.
Every time I think I'm out, it pulls me back in. I can't get away from it. The only reason I haven't been playing it for like the past 2 months is because my computer has been in pieces and I've been waiting on motherboards. F you, Newegg. I'll never buy from you ever again.
Oh God.
And now that it's up, it's like, ooh, like hot spoopy content, because they have their Festival of the Lost right now. Destiny.
I feel like the people who like made Destiny went to the people who made League of Legends. It was like, how?
Here's all the secrets to microtransactions. Oh, okay.
And then the last question I want to ask, what's a game franchise or franchise where you just can't stand? You're like, just something that like, nope, it's not me.
Hot take, don't at me. There's a couple, but the first one that comes to mind is Modern Warfare.
Okay.
I feel like I didn't get in on that opening start to all of Modern Warfare multiplayer. I love the campaigns, but the multiplayer, the learning curve is too immediately steep. And every time I play, I spawn and there's already a knife like in transit across the map to my forehead, and it's just no fun. Like I start and it's just like dead instantly. My compromise on that war PvP stuff is Battlefield. But I haven't played Battlefield since 4.
All right, so I think that's it, man.
Wait, hold on. What are yours though? That's not fair. I gotta know what yours. What's the game that you can always pick up and run with at any time?
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls?
I'm a Dark Souls fan.
Specifically Dark Souls, not
specifically Dark Souls 1.
1. Okay.
Yeah, that's my thing, and like I just love picking up that game. It's like it's got a nostalgic factor for me because it means a lot to me. So that's my
hype for Demon Souls 3.
Oh yeah, dude, okay. I pre-ordered it already. Yeah, it's done.
Okay, and the one you can't stand, the one that their hot take for what you can't stand?
Destiny.
Well, it's been real.
And yeah, where can we find you, Rob?
You want my address? No, please don't.
Maybe not that.
So you can find me on like every social media platform that's out there. I might not have my own personal one on everyone, but Fantasy Banjo does, and it's pretty much just me, maybe Patrick sometimes.
Okay.
So you can find everywhere at Fantasy Banjo. Me specifically, if I'm on the platform, I'm usually Bytes and Robs, BYTES, the letter N, ROBZ, because I grew up in the 90s.
Yeah, nice.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Grindr.
I don't know about that. So guys, check them out. Check out Fantasy Banjo. Get on that Bytes and Brews. Get Tony to make another video.
At Tony Pizza 333.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.
Hey, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you so much for sticking through to the end. I know it's a long video, but there's some good stuff in there, and I'm glad you stuck all the way through it. I just want to say thank you again to the person I interviewed,
Rob from Fantasy Banjo.
I want to thank them for coming on to my channel and doing this interview with me. I really like sharing people's stories. It's really awesome, and I want to see more of it, so I'm going to do more of the content on this channel. If you found something interesting in this interview, then put a comment below and tell me what you found that was kind of interesting, like what the or anything else that you found that you want to talk about. If you like this video, then give us a like, and if you want to see more, then subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to interact with us live, then check us out on our Twitch channel. We do about 2 streams a week, and yeah, we'd love to see you there. So until next time, everyone, later. Trying to help you. I was trying to help you, but you know what? We gonna hurt Dickie.
Oh!
Oh!
Oh no! Oh my god, dude!
Oh my god!